When people talk about alien life, they usually look up at the sky. But deep beneath the ocean floor, there are creatures so unfamiliar that they make us question whether we are looking at something from another world. And it becomes even stranger when we listen to the ocean. For 35 years, a sound has echoed across the ocean. Sent out, but never answered. When humans finally reached the deepest place on Earth, what we found was not a new mystery, but traces of ourselves, already there before we arrived. I'm James Carter, and you're watching True Earth. Join me as we explore the truths that the vast ocean still keeps hidden. Big fin squid. In 2007, a remotely operated vehicle operated by Shell Oil was descending nearly 5,000 meters into the Gulf of Mexico when it encountered 8-meter tentacles, bent at sharp angles like elbows, drifting motionless in the pitch black, with arms longer than a giraffe is tall. When standing upright, they do not swim. They simply remain there, as if waiting for something. In 2 decades, NOAA has confirmed only about 12 sightings worldwide, all between depths of roughly 2,000 and nearly 5,000 meters. We have never observed it feeding, and we still do not know how it hunts. Some scientists believe the long arms hang below its body like a web, catching drifting prey. Others think the tentacles trail along the seafloor, sensing vibrations from small creatures in the sediment. If something this large can exist virtually unknown, what else is hiding in the deep? Deep sea gigantism. The Japanese spider crab has a leg span of 3.8 meters, wider than most cars. If you stood next to one with its legs fully extended, you would need to reach above your head just to touch the ends of its legs. In the darkest depths of the ocean, you will also encounter giant squid. Giant arthropods and giant tube worms. This phenomenon appears across many different species and throughout oceans around the world. Why does the deep ocean favor size? In near-freezing water, metabolic processes slow, causing growth to slow as well. In return, many deep-sea animals live for a very long time, for decades, even centuries. In an environment where food is scarce and unpredictable, larger body size becomes an advantage, allowing animals to store more energy and endure longer periods without eating. Through natural selection, individuals with larger size survive more successfully, and over time, this trait becomes more common. But size isn't always about strength. Sometimes, it's about seeing in the dark. Colossal squid. The colossal squid has the largest eyes of any known animal. Each eye measures about 27 to 30 centimeters across, roughly the size of a dinner plate. Built to detect the faintest movements in near total darkness, the colossal squid's eyes can pick up bioluminescent flashes from prey or the distant approach of its only predator, the sperm whale. In 2025, scientists captured the first footage of a juvenile colossal squid alive. But adults, the true giants, have never been observed in their natural habitat. How does it hunt? It may wait in the darkness, massive eyes scanning from a distance, perfectly still until the moment to strike. Or it may pursue prey aggressively, using rotating chitin hooks on its tentacles to grip and hold struggling victims. We do not know how it hunts. It has never been seen doing so. These giants remain mysteries, and they are alive. What we are about to explore moves into something even darker. Turtle Tomb. Off the coast of Sipadan, Malaysia, there's a cave at about 20 meters depth. When divers first entered, they found the cave floor covered in bones. Dozens of sea turtle skeletons scattered across the rock, slowly overgrown by coral. Divers began calling it the Turtle Tomb. Sea turtles are solitary animals. They do not move in groups or gather in one place. So why did so many die here? The cave forms a maze of narrow passages and twisting tunnels, many of them ending abruptly. Some skeletons lie near the ceiling, where pockets of trapped air once formed. Sea turtles can hold their breath for up to 2 hours, but inside this cave, they lose their way, run out of air, and drown. One possibility is that sick or injured turtles enter caves seeking shelter, and once inside, are too weak to escape. The Turtle Tomb belongs to turtles. In another place, the ocean does the same to people. The Red Sea, Blue Hole. Divers call it the most dangerous dive site on Earth. A vertical shaft, 130 meters deep, cuts through the coral reef near the town of Dahab in Egypt. From above, it appears as a perfect circle of dark blue. Inside, it becomes a tunnel where light dies at 50 meters. Over 15 years, more than 130 divers died here, and some bodies were never recovered. Complex geometry, zero visibility below 100 meters, and shifting currents. Here, salt water meets fresh water in vertical columns. These layers create unpredictable flows, accelerated through narrow passages. Divers describe being pulled downward, suddenly and without warning. At 80 meters, ascending too slowly risks being pulled deeper, and ascending too fast lets pressure tear the body apart from the inside. The chance of escape is almost zero, and some divers are still down there. USS Scorpion. May 22, 1968. The USS Scorpion, a nuclear attack submarine, was returning to Norfolk with 99 sailors on board when it disappeared without warning. The wreck was found months later at 3,000 meters depth, 400 miles from its last reported position, raising immediate questions about what could have moved a submarine that far off course before it sank. After decades of investigation, including sonar analysis, wreck examination, and classified intelligence reviews, the United States Navy reached a rare conclusion. The cause remains unknown. 3 theories have been proposed. One suggests a Mark 37 torpedo malfunctioned inside the submarine, detonating and flooding the vessel within minutes. Another points to a Cold War encounter, possibly a Soviet weapons strike, an explanation the Navy rejects due to the absence of sonar, radar, or impact evidence on the wreck. A third theory proposes a mechanical failure at depth, a hull breach or battery explosion, sudden and silent, leaving no time for a distress call. None has been confirmed. The wreck still holds answers the Navy could not decipher, even after all these years. Atlit Yam, Langso. Long before a modern warship was lost at sea, an entire community was swallowed by rising waters. 8,500 years old, older than the pyramids of Giza by 4 centuries, the submerged village of Atlit Yam lies 8 to 12 meters beneath the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Israel. Stone-built houses, megalithic structures arranged in a semicircle, ancient wells still intact, and human skeletons deliberately buried, all preserved beneath the water as an entire Neolithic village. Tools were left where they were last used. Fish remains lie piled, as if prepared for storage or trade. There are no signs of a gradual departure, no evidence that people slowly abandoned their homes over months or years. Everything points to a sudden disappearance. Some researchers suggest a tsunami, possibly triggered by the collapse of Mount Etna's flank, a catastrophic event occurring around the same period. They point to the abrupt abandonment and tsunami modeling, indicating waves up to 40 meters reaching the Mediterranean coast. But this remains unproven. Other explanations, including gradual sea level rise, are still considered, and no archaeological consensus has confirmed the tsunami theory. Brine pools deeper than Atlit Yam, far beyond sunlight's reach. Imagine standing on the seafloor, looking at a lake, complete with its own surface and shoreline. This is a brine pool, water so saturated with salt, nearly 8 times more concentrated than the sea above. It sits in a depression like a pool of mercury, maintaining its separation through density alone. Brine pools are anoxic environments, hypersaline to a degree that triggers instant osmotic shock, and saturated with hydrogen sulfide and methane. Any creature that enters a brine pool dies within seconds, its body preserved on the brine floor like a specimen in formaldehyde. But along its edges, life thrives, with tube worms clustering along the boundary, mussels anchoring themselves to the rim, and dense bacterial mats flourishing in conditions that would otherwise be lethal. Many of these creatures host chemosynthetic bacteria, microorganisms that convert toxic chemicals into usable energy, allowing life to persist on the edge of death. 52. Hertz whale. Somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a sound echoes. In 1989, hydrophones operated by the United States Navy recorded it at a frequency of 52 hertz, far higher than the calls of blue whales, typically around 10 to 20 hertz, or fin whales, which center near 20 hertz. For 35 years, researchers have tracked the same call across the Pacific, repeating year after year at the same frequency. No other whale has ever been recorded responding. The sound is believed to come from a single whale, which does not travel with blue whale pods or align with fin whale migrations, and every recording captures the same solitary caller. Interbreeding between blue whales and fin whales is documented, and a hybrid could produce a call frequency between the two species, potentially near 52 hertz. Such hybrids are rare, and this explanation remains speculative. Another possibility is a known species with an abnormal vocal structure that shifts its call higher than normal. We do not know what this whale is searching for, but 35 years is a long time to call without an answer. Barreleye fish. When researchers first captured a barreleye fish in nets, they thought the specimen was damaged because the head looked collapsed and deformed. Then they saw one alive in 2004 and realized the head is supposed to be transparent. A fluid-filled dome, clear as glass, houses 2 barrel-shaped eyes that glow green in the darkness. Those eyes aren't fixed in place like most fish. They rotate freely within the protective dome. When hunting, the eyes point upward to scan for prey, silhouettes against faint surface light filtering down from above. When eating, the eyes rotate forward to aim precisely at food. No other fish does this. Transparency seems counterintuitive in the deep ocean, where most creatures are black or red to camouflage themselves against darkness. A transparent head should make you more visible to predators, not less. Scientists don't fully understand why this adaptation evolved, but the leading idea suggests the dome functions as armor. Barreleyes are suspected of stealing prey from siphonophores, jellyfish-like creatures with stinging tentacles. The transparent shield would let the fish see the tentacles clearly, approach carefully, and steal already caught prey without getting stung. The barreleye lives at 800 meters. The next creature lives 10 times deeper. Mariana snailfish. When descending to a depth of 8,178 meters in the Mariana Trench, pressure reaches nearly 800 atmospheres, meaning nearly 1 ton of weight presses down on every square centimeter of the body. That is the pressure this fish endures every second of its life. Scales are costly to maintain, and at this depth, every unit of energy matters. The Mariana snailfish is composed of 95% water, with a soft, compressible body and no rigid structures for pressure to crush. Its thin, minimally mineralized bones remain flexible under compression rather than shattering. This fish survives extreme pressure through adaptation, not resistance. At this depth, around 8,200 meters, scientists believe vertebrate fish reach their absolute limit. Beyond this depth, the biochemistry that sustains life begins to fail. Cells lose their stability. Proteins stop working properly, like an engine pushed beyond its red line. That places the Mariana snailfish at the edge of what is biologically possible. The bloop in the summer of 1997, a sound traveled more than 5,000 kilometers across the South Pacific. The acoustic pattern, including its rising frequency, resembled animal calls more than geological sounds. Christopher Fox of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration noted that if it were biological, it would have required a source far more powerful than any known animal, something significantly larger than a blue whale. After years of analysis and comparison with Antarctic hydrophone data, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration identified the source in 2005 as ice quakes, produced by massive ice calving events. Some skepticism remains because the acoustic match is not perfect, and the ocean is vast enough to conceal possibilities we have not yet imagined. But the evidence points to ice rather than biology, and scientific consensus supports that conclusion. Sometimes the answer is less exciting than the question. That does not make it less true. The Unsolved Mysteries 13. Missing alligator. Back in the Gulf of Mexico, researchers conducted an experiment by lowering a 40-pound alligator carcass to the seafloor at 6,000 feet to observe how deep-sea scavengers process large food sources. They expected slow decomposition, bacterial breakdown, perhaps some isopod activity gradually consuming the remains. 8 days later, the ROV returned to find the alligator gone completely, with only the deployment harness left on the seafloor. There were no scattered fragments, no bones in the sediment, nothing to suggest the body had been consumed in place. Something dragged it away. What is strong enough and hungry enough to move a 40-pound carcass at 6,000 feet? Sleeper sharks, six-gill sharks, or another deep-sea predator could explain it. But there is no footage, no witnesses, only an empty harness and a question that remains unanswered. The missing alligator is a scientific mystery, but there is another kind of mystery in the deep ocean, one that reveals less about the sea itself and more about the human mind. Bridge to ending. In Antarctic waters, some Japanese fishing crews reported seeing a massive white shape, 20 to 30 meters long, humanoid in form. There are no photographs or physical evidence, only stories passed along. The question is not whether it exists, but why we want it to. The human brain is wired to recognize faces and bodies, even when they are not there, finding patterns in darkness and meaning in randomness. And sometimes, we see what we fear. Like the discovery made by Swedish treasure hunters in the year 2011, while scanning the floor of the Baltic Sea, they detected something unusual on sonar. a disc-shaped structure measuring 60 meters across, marked by geometric patterns, and trailing behind it a 300-meter scar that looked as if something had struck the seafloor and slid to a halt. When they dove to investigate, they reported cameras failing, satellite phones cutting out, and electronic systems dying within 200 meters of the object. To them, it pointed to a UFO, ancient technology, something not of this world. When geologists examined the site, the mystery collapsed into something far more ordinary: a glacial deposit, basaltic rock shaped by Ice Age glaciers around 12,000 years ago. The long drag mark was not evidence of a crash, but a glacial groove, a common feature across the Baltic Sea where ice sheets once dragged massive boulders over exposed bedrock. The reported equipment failures were never independently verified, and in later interviews, members of the team admitted that some details had been exaggerated to fuel media attention. The deepest crewed expedition into the ocean took place in May 2019. Victor Vescovo descended to the Challenger Deep, nearly 11 kilometers beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean. At the bottom of the deepest trench on Earth, resting on the sediment, he found a plastic bag. This was not just litter. It was proof that human influence has reached every corner of the planet, from the deepest ocean trench to the highest mountain, and even the most remote deserts once thought untouched. When researchers analyzed amphipods collected from the Mariana Trench, they found microplastics in every single specimen. These creatures live nearly 11 kilometers below the surface, in an environment that should be completely isolated from our world. Yet fragments of our plastic are now embedded in their bodies. For billions of years, the Hadal Zone stood as Earth's final frontier, distant, inaccessible, and unknown. When we finally reached it, the most unexpected discovery was not a new creature or an unsolved mystery, but a reflection of ourselves, present in every layer, at every depth. Section D. Hope. What it means. But here's the thing about mirrors. They don't just show you who you are, they show you who you can choose to be. We proved there is no frontier beyond our reach, and if we can reach it, we must also protect it. The question isn't what's down there. The question is, what will we do now?